my name is Monica Tamira, and this video is going to be about my introduction to anime. So I'm just going to right away start off with the first anime I've been interested in. It would be Inuyasha. So Inuyasha, I first seen the show when I was 8 years old because it would show up on Cartoon Network, the channel for Cartoon Network, but late at night. So probably past or during the Adult Swim time of the night, but a little bit later, a little bit closer to the morning kind of. And I remember leaving my TV on, and next thing you know, I'm just being awakened by the opening theme.
I had to say this really quick. The only two songs I remembered being played when I was 8 were the songs played by V6. So Change the World, I remembered even though that was the theme for the first season, which I haven't seen yet when I was 8, and Brand New World by V6, which was played after Tragic Love Song of Destiny.
It's oh, this is an animation that doesn't look like the other stuff that I would see during Adult Swim. It didn't look like it was a parody cartoon. It was just an animation, and it had a serious storyline to it. And I remember the first episode I've seen of Inuyasha, it was more focused on Kikyo. So I thought Kikyo was the main character up until rewatching the whole anime when I got older. I think last year I finally finished watching the whole anime series. So I recently found out that the first ever episode I've seen of Inuyasha was actually from season 6, episode 21. So the Tragic Love Song of Destiny, I think that was the name of the episode. So I remember how the episode made me feel. It was just so sad because you see how Inuyasha and Kikyo were when they were together, and how they gained each other's trust, because Inuyasha's that type of person where it's he's more to himself. He's a very outwardly cocky person, but he's the type of person who would be to himself and not be compassionate in a way. And I feel Kikyo kind of softened him a little bit, and the fact that you see where the betrayal started with Naraku, or the person who used to be Naraku, got in between them because of the jewel shard that he wanted. So, and I think I was also really because there's certain types of moments that really attract me, and I felt the music that they played also helped with making me obsessed with the show, because I remember after that I would look forward to waking up in the middle of the night just to watch the show, and just to see Inuyasha and Kikyo. But it got to a point where I guess I didn't realize at that time that it was close to the end of the anime. So I remember the last episode I've seen that year was when Kagome was born, and I was oh, who the fuck is Kagome? Is this Kikyo's reincarnation? Because I said, the first episode I seen was only focused on Kikyo and Inuyasha, so I didn't know about Kagome until that last episode that they shown on Adult Swim. But yeah, so that was the first anime that I was very interested in, and I was probably 8 years old when I seen it. Maybe my sophomore or junior year in high school, I tried to rewatch the anime from the beginning, the very, very beginning, and then that's when I got to know Kagome from the beginning. But I remember I ended up pausing somewhere and I forgot where I left off, so it wasn't until after graduating high school and after graduated from college, where I went back to try to find out where I left off. So I pretty much started at like season 5 because I think that's where I left off when I was watching it in high school. And then from season 5, I found my way to back to season 6 to the tragic love song of Destiny, where I was like, oh wow, so this was the episode that made me love Inuyasha, because that was the very first episode I've seen of it. So it's kind of weird that it took me that long just to finish it. But yeah, that was the first one I've seen. The second anime I've watched came along a lot later, which is weird because like it wasn't like I wasn't the type of person who doesn't like anime, because like I was never like against it. I was never like judging people who did watch it or who were interested in it, because I know like most of my friends from like middle school, like well, literally like most of my friends from middle school who like I hung out around the most, like they were like anime fanatics. And you know, but the fact that I would see them enjoy, you know, that type of content, but I was just never like into it at the same time as they were. Like it was just, I only knew about Inuyasha, and I did know about Naruto, but I didn't watch it. I did know about Bleach, but I didn't watch it. I did know about One Piece also, but I didn't watch it either. So I just knew that that was the type of stuff that they would watch. But I was the type of person, like if I see a bunch of people watching one thing, I kind of avoid it because I don't want any type of spoilers, because I just hate the feeling of being behind on something. I kind of like to like watch things from the beginning and like go at my own pace. So when it came to like bigger or like just more mainstream anime like those, like I just kind of like avoid it because I don't want to feel like I'm like really really behind, which I guess I am now if I were to start watching it. But yeah, that was just me. So from when I was 8 years old and the last anime I watched was Inuyasha, the second anime I've seen was after graduating high school, during college. So the second anime was Soul Eater, and I remember my sister showing me the first episode, and there was like the moment where it was the kid with like the black and white hair, and you know how like each student at that school, they have a partner who is like their weapon that they fight with. So like their partner basically turns into a weapon, and he had two partners who would turn into like his guns or whatever. And it was a moment where like they were on a task. The girls that he has as his partners, like they were just like kind of like messing him up, or like he was just like so specific about like symmetry. Like he was just obsessed with symmetry, and it was like just really funny to see that, because like you could just easily just like he could just easily just like, you know, get the job done and like get the task done, but he was like, the fact that he was so focused on the symmetry was just like, bro, like it doesn't take this much, it should not take this much. But I do remember liking the anime. I did like it a lot because like, you know, I think that was like the first time I seen an anime character who was black, which was I think his name was Sid. And Sid reminded me, like for some reason whenever I see Sid I just think of Sean Paul, because of, like the braids he had going back with the headband. And the other girl who was with him a lot, Nigus, I liked her too because like, you know, she had like dreadlocks and stuff like that. I did think it was weird at some point that Sid was not the way he was anymore, because there was a point where like in the beginning Sid was like a human, and then somewhere down the line he was just not human anymore and he looked like a zombie, and I was just like, I kind of want the old Sid back. I remember like feeling really bad for Cronus, and my thing about characters like Cronus is like, you have like this certain character in an anime where like in the beginning they're just like a soft, you know, push over type of person, and it's like along the way as like the show develops, you kind of want that character to gain more confidence in themselves and be more badass. But it was just like, I did not feel like he did make a little bit of progress, but it was like he was still just kind of weak-ish. Like, not weak, but like it was just like he was still kind of just, he was very timid, even though like he was strong, but he was just timid. And that kind of like rubbed me like the wrong way, because I just wanted to see more from him, like. But yeah, so that was the second anime I've watched. So the third anime that I've watched was Samurai Champloo. And the funny thing about this one, it was like, I first seen it on my sister's laptop. Like, she was watching it, and I remember like it was the scene where Mugen and Jin were flipping a coin, and like they were waiting for the coin to come back down so they could see like what side it would flip on, but like it was just taking a long time.
All right. We'll decide this by tossing this coin. If it's heads, you fight each other. But if it comes up tails, you forget about the fight and you both come with me. Are we clear on this?
Give me that.
Think you might have tossed it a little too far?
He doesn't know the meaning of restraint.
Kiss my ass.
I did ask my sister what the name of the show was called, and like she told me like a few times, but I was just like really confused by it. And then I remember like just never coming back to it until later on, probably like in 2020 actually, where a guy friend of mine told me about Samurai Champloo, and I was confused by the name again. But then like he showed it to me, and I looked it up. I looked up websites to watch it at, and I was just really into it because like I like the vibe of like the show. Like it has a nice vibe to it, where it's like.
So the show takes place in the Edo period in Japan from like 1603 to 1868, I think, and you have them in a setting where there's samurai fighters, assassins, and stuff like that, but the background music is basically like jazz hip hop, which would remind some people of the show The Boondocks, because you know it's also an anime that involves like black culture, but also like being mixed in with Asian culture, with Huey, the main character, using martial arts as his way of fighting.
I also liked Mugen. I liked Mugen's character a lot because at first, I'm not gonna lie, I did kind of find him annoying, because it's like he's one of those people who like he'll just fight just for the sake of fighting, and it's like it wouldn't even have to be like necessary, but he would do it. But at the same time, that's what you kind of like about him, because like he's not afraid, like he doesn't get scared easily, and if he is kind of scared, he doesn't really show it like that. I also liked Jin also, only for the fact that he was like more level-headed, he had more common sense, and you know, he was just like a chill dude. Like he didn't like have to like spaz out as much as Mugen just to show his strength. Like he was strong too, but he didn't have to like be cocky about it. With Fu, I feel weird about her, because like, and I know this happens a lot when it comes to anime, but it's like you have like this female character who you think she's a woman because of how they've drawn her, but then you look up the character's age, or like she might say her age in the anime, and it's just like, oh, this girl is 15, and this girl is 15. So it's like some moments were kind of weird for me, because it's just like, oh, I don't think that should be happening with her or like around her or like just anything. So yeah, but I do like Fu also because like she kind of just kept them together, kept them not from basically killing each other, because like Mugen and Jin always like whenever they got done fighting someone else, they will always like try to come back to fight each other to like settle the score or whatever. But Fu kept them from doing that in ways where, you know, along the way they end up like kind of liking each other because they protected each other in ways where maybe they didn't mean to, but they know like if we fight together we're stronger. I really like Samurai Champloo. I felt kind of weird about the ending because like when she goes to meet like the samurai who smells like sunflowers, that part of the show was just really I didn't know how to feel about that all the way. But yeah. So the fourth one I've seen was also suggested by the same guy friend, and it was Cowboy Bebop, which I think it was also either directed or produced by the same person who made Samurai Champloo. Cowboy Bebop came out before, like way before Samurai Champloo, so it was kind of like different. Of course it was different, but like you kind of see some similarities with how the way Spike's hair is, or like the way that Spike's physical features are somewhat close to Mugen's, or maybe Mugen's was kind of like based on him in some ways. With Cowboy Bebop, it took me a moment to get into it, I'm not gonna lie. The first few episodes I was just like, they're in space. I don't know how to feel about anything being in space, so it was just like, oh, okay. And then when Faye showed up, I was like, okay, you got like this female character who's like a trickster in a way, and you know, she's like gonna spice things up for them. I liked how like she had like some type of mystery to her, because like they were trying to figure out who she was, and she didn't even know who she was either. So like the episodes where it goes deeper about her background, I really like that a lot. I think it was an episode where they got like a mail delivery of like a VCR tape, or yeah, VCR tape, and they were trying to like find a TV to like play it. I think that episode I liked. I don't think I should go into detail because I don't want to like spoil it for anyone, but like the show does get really more interesting like the more you watch it, so I'm just gonna leave it at that. I feel like the fifth one I've watched was probably I think Michiko to Hatchin, because I felt like I wanted to stay in the same area of like animes produced or directed by Watanabe. I started watching Michiko to Hatchin, and I felt like with Hatchin's character, or Hannah, the same way I felt about Cronus from Soul Eater was the same way I kind of felt about her, because like in the beginning you see that she's like this girl who she's adopted, and she's like being taken care of by this family who basically they treat her like crap. They treat her like a maid, and the two children that she's living with, like they're just bullies, and like they make her get in trouble for no reason, and it's just like beat somebody's ass. Just go ahead and do it. Beat somebody's ass. And there's like a moment where like she does like stand up for herself, and you know they kind of like back off in a way, but it's just like, I don't think you did it enough, because like it was a moment where like she stood up for herself, and then like they kind of like got shook, but then it went right back to normal, where it's like, okay, you had like a badass moment, and then her mother comes in, her real mother, Michiko, and you know, Michiko, she's like the opposite of Hana, where, you know, she is like another character like Mugen from Samurai Champloo. Like, she fights, and she's not afraid, and she's like a bold person. So you have Hana, who is now with Michiko, and you would think that it would like rub off on her, but it kind of doesn't. And that part was like kind of just like bothering me, because it's like, girl, you have to learn to just like not be the way that you are right now. Like, you can't be that way anymore. You're with this woman who is wanted by the police, and you guys are like living on the run. You have to learn to be more tough and not as easily manipulated or easily run over the way you were when you were living with your adopted family. So I was just like, she was just one of those characters like Cronus, where I just felt like, okay, you had a moment where you could be badass, but then you just stay kind of timid, and it was just like, Michiko escapes from jail, I think. Yeah, she escapes from jail, and she's like coming back to go get her daughter, Hana, and who is also called Hatchin, and they're going out to find Hatchin's father. They're trying to find Hana's father, and there was like moments from like the flashbacks of Michiko's memories, where you see her and Hana's father together, and you look at him, and he looks very similar to Spike from Cowboy Bebop, but like just like a blonde version of him. So I was like, maybe that was like on purpose to like be like a reference from Cowboy Bebop. So basically throughout the whole anime, you just have like them like running around, running away from the police. They meet a lot of interesting people along the way. Like Hatchin ends up meeting like this girl who works at a circus, and there's a moment where you know, Michiko, she has like a moment with like this man, and you don't see her being romantic that often, so it's like, oh, this is kind of nice, but then you find out some information about that man, and it's just like, oh, never mind. I like that it has like two female characters who are just like doing things that you wouldn't normally see a female character do, because like Michiko is not, she's like very attractive and very like, I'm not gonna say she's like masculine, but she's not ladylike either, and I'm not saying that as like an insult, but it's just like, she's not like the type of person like she needs to be saved. She doesn't need to be saved, she can save herself. So I like that about her. With the ending of the anime, I kind of didn't want it to end. It was just one season. Same with the other two that I mentioned before. I kind of want to see more of Hatchin as an adult, or like maybe like, I don't know, maybe moments before she became an adult, because at the end of the season, like, you see her grow up, because like years pass by and stuff like that. So like I want to see like more of Hatchin and Michiko as adults, where like both of them as adults. I think my sixth anime, and this one really changed me. I was not expecting this one to be the way that it was. Berserk. So I always had like some type of interest in Berserk, only for the fact that, you know, I wanted to see Casca's character. I always see people like making memes showing Casca and Guts, where he's saying like, my love for you is like a truck, and then he says like berserker, and I'm just like, did this really happen in the anime?
Come. You could come with me. My love for you is like a truck. Berserker.
You fool.
Do you want to making Berserker? Berserker.
Did he just say... making...
I actually watch it. I watched the 1997 version, because like when I looked it up, the anime to see which ones to watch, a lot of people were saying don't look at the 2016, 2017 versions because it was just like weird to look at or something like that. So I was like, I'm gonna save myself the disappointment. Maybe I don't think it was a disappointment because I did see part of it and I was like, oh, the animation is kind of weird, but I think I would like to continue maybe, but I didn't continue. So I started watching the 1997 version, and same thing with Cowboy Bebop, where it's like, I guess it's like with any show, like you just have to like sometimes wait for it to get interesting. Where like it was already kind of interesting in the beginning because like you have Guts and his black swordsman stage, shit happens, and the thing that confused me, and it's like if you're a person like me who didn't know or didn't read the manga before watching the anime, I didn't know that the first episode it was like him in the present, and then somewhere down the line it goes into a flashback where he's like a kid. So when it went to the flashback of him as a kid, I was like, okay. Basically from, I think like the middle of the first episode or maybe like the second episode all the way down to the last episode, the whole thing is a flashback. The whole thing is a flashback, it's a backstory to explain why he is the way he was in the very first scene of the first episode. The way I felt about Berserk, the first few episodes going in, it was just like the dialogue kind of threw me off because there were moments where it's just like, why did this person choose to say that? I felt like the dialogue was kind of awkward to me, but and also it was like scenes where that didn't make sense to me, where it's like everyone is on a battlefield, you guys are fighting, you're in a battle, you're supposed to be fighting for your lives, and it was like you would have Griffith fighting, and for some reason Griffith is fighting and he has an audience watching him, but like you're in the middle of a battlefield, like why are you sitting there on your horse commentating on what Griffith is doing or commentating on what Gus is doing? And like it just did not, it was kind of irritating because there's just like, it was irritating in a funny way because it's just like, bro, like you could die right now and you're just like, oh wow, look at how he split that horse in half, and it's just like you're still there, you're not far away in the trees somewhere just looking at the fight happening, you're in the fight, like bro, pick up your sword and do something. So it's just like moments like that where it's just like, okay, this does not feel realistic at all. But and the fact that they would somehow still win the battle is like, I get they're supposed to be like a strong band of mercenaries, but it's just like the way that they would include the other soldiers in the conversation, where you don't see them fighting as much as they should, especially with the way that they've been winning all their battles. So it's just like, have them speak less and then it would be more believable. Like have them speak less and fight more, and then I would have felt like, okay, this is real. But yeah. And then like, okay, so it's like the fact that they kept winning their fights kind of makes you believe like, okay, everything is going good. You could tell that Griffith wanted to keep winning in order to like get higher in his status and stuff like that. And you could tell like, you know, there's this princess named Charlotte who likes him. So I already had a feeling that he would kind of like use that to his advantage. But there comes a point in the anime where, like, I'm not trying to spoil anything for people who haven't seen it, but I know a lot of people have seen it, but I'm not going to spoil it. There comes a point where Guts, the main character, decides that he wants to leave the group and, like, find his own dream and find what his purpose is. And when that happens, everything just goes to shit. Like, when I tell you, like, things took a hard left, it went downhill, and it went downhill so bad where it was like you did not expect the shit that happened next to actually happen. But it was like okay, it didn't happen. The hard left did not happen all right away. It was like, okay, Guts left. It had some type of effect on Griffith, who was like the leader of the group, and you know, you could tell like he was feeling some type of way that Guts left him or whatever, because like Guts is like he's like one of the strongest people he has on his team. So it's like maybe Griffith felt like, I won't get to my goal as fast as I want to if I don't have this guy on my team. It may take me a little bit longer to get to my goal if I don't have this guy helping me win these battles the way that he has been helping me. So it's like, okay, he's you know, he's down bad a little bit, and then he just decides to do something really stupid, and then he gets caught doing something really stupid, and then it just kind of ruins it for everybody. So it's just like, okay, now everybody's down bad, but like there was still hope where, you know, they try to get everyone back together, and I'm like, okay, this is gonna be a happy ending. Like, they're all gonna get back together, they're gonna prove everybody wrong, and you know, they're gonna be back on their boss shit, they're gonna be knights again or whatever. So then you think, because of the way that the first half of the show was, where they were constantly winning and having good things happen to them, you would think that something good would happen, until you get to like the last 3 episodes. The last 3 episodes was when, actually the third to last episode was when I started noticing like, okay, shit is kind of weird, because you see like this giant snake out of nowhere, which I guess was supposed to be like the snake person from the first episode, and I was like, that's that dude. Why is there monsters now? Like, there was already a monster in like a little bit earlier with Zod. The episode where Guts and Griffith is fighting Zod, and Zod is like this huge bull looking type of apostle or demon, and he's fighting Guts, and like, you know, Griffith decides to like step in and help him out, and then like in the process of doing that, Zod basically like knocks Griffith out, and he's like unconscious or whatever. He's like knocked out in a corner. And here's where I felt like, you know, Gus should have like used his smart head, or like just use his head a little bit more, or use common sense. You have this huge ass monster who killed 1,000 people before with ease. Like, he killed 1,000 people with ease, and it seems like he's about to kill you, and he's about to kill your friend, because your friend is knocked out in the corner, and you have this huge ass monster who is coming up to your friend to like, you know, finish the job. But then he stops in his track, like he's scared of what? So like, he sees the bayonet around Griffith's neck, and he's just like, oh hell no. This guy who you're hanging out with, and he has like this thing around his neck, if you think that he's your friend or whatever, that's not your friend for real. And it's like, okay, for him to like stop and actually like care enough to say something like that says something, like maybe you should listen to that. I felt like Guts should have listened to that and be like, oh, why is this big monster afraid of this guy who is like not even awake? And then like it's the fact that like he sees it, Zod sees it, and like he like punches a hole through the ceiling and flies away. if someone that big is scared of a human wearing a red thing around their neck, why are you still being friends with this person after what he said? Because I would have left through the back door. Like, that would have been the last episode for me. But yeah, basically the last 3 episodes is like when things, the third to last episode was like when you notice something was wrong, and then the last 2 episodes was like, oh shit, it was just so, and like what made it worse is like, I was watching the anime with my younger sister, so I didn't know that it was gonna get that. I didn't know. We both didn't know. And I felt like after watching that, like I didn't feel right for a few days, if I'm being honest. Like, I was so mad that I watched it, but at the same time it was like the fact that I was so caught off guard by it made me more interested in it, because I didn't know that there was like a credit scene, like a ending credit scene, where at the very last episode of the season they show, I'm not even gonna say, there's a credit scene that makes you want to like know more about it, because the way that the episodes ends is like, oh, this shit is done. But then you see the credit scene, it's like, oh, there's more to it. And then it kind of brings you back to like the very first episode, with how Guts looked in the first episode. So it's like, okay, so there's more to it. And then now I have to read the manga. So basically, from finishing the anime, that's when I started reading the manga. And this is like all in like 2020, and I finished it because I heard that there were like new chapters coming out, so I was like, oh, I need to hurry up and finish it now so I won't be behind, because I hate feeling like I'm behind everyone else when it comes to like, I don't want any spoilers. So yeah, I've read it all the way to like chapter 363, or no, was it 362 or 3? Yes, 363 was the last one that came out like last month. So yeah, and you would just have to watch it. I feel like for me, if I would suggest this to someone, I would want them to watch the anime first, only because like I felt like if I had read the manga first, I wouldn't finish it, because it was just like it was some scenes in the manga that was just like too much. But I feel like if you watch the anime first, it kind of like builds up your tolerance a bit, even though like most of the stuff that happens is still like messed up, but at least it kind of like prepares you for like, okay, this is what type of show or story this is. So it's like, you know what to expect, but in the manga, of course, it's going to be like more detailed, and there's a lot of scenes, there's a lot of moments in the manga that you don't see in the anime, so it would just kind of like catch you off guard, like, oh, this happened, and that's why he's the way he is. Or it was this one weird oh yeah, the third to last episode where I'm not gonna say what happened, but like there's like a moment where Rickard sees a fairy, and I'm not gonna lie, when I first seen the fairy, I was like, boy, you better run. But he sees a fairy, and you could tell the fairy is not like a good fairy, and they don't go into detail on that fairy, but in the manga you get like a whole story about the fairy. Like they give you more details on the that one fairy that Rickard's seen in the forest, and there were a couple scenes with her and her little follower people that like it made me uncomfortable, because like the way that they play with each other is not normal. The way that they like fight, or yeah, it's a lot of stuff in that manga that just and then yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. I don't want to like go into detail because it's just like it's a lot of disturbing stuff that happens, and I'm gonna just leave it at that. I think after Berserk, I tried to go for something more less like maybe something like less dark, a lot less dark. So I went for something that was like kind of humorous. So I started watching Food Wars because I seen who did I see watching it? I've seen Megan Thee Stallion watching Food Wars, and I thought like, what the hell is she watching? Because like this looks very suspect. Like you had people like eating food, and like the way that these people react to eating food, which is like, I will want to experience food that good, but it can't be that good. It was just really funny to watch. But yeah, I think I watched Food Wars season 1, and I finished season 2, but I haven't watched the rest of the other seasons yet, but I plan to. After Food Wars, I did started watching I'm gonna get the title wrong. I think it was like New Devil Sister or something like that, but I stopped watching it like somewhere in season 2 because I was like, I could not take it anymore. It was just like I wanted to like continue watching just to follow the storyline to see like if the main character like basically like accomplishes his goals, or like something, you find out more about like what happened between him and the village that made people not want to like associate with him and his father or something like that. But it's just like I couldn't get through with it because it was like it was too much of like, I guess you call it like fan service. And like the fact that they were like all high school students, I was like, yeah, this is not, I don't feel comfortable watching this, so I just stopped watching it. After that one, I think was probably Carole and Tuesday. And I was interested in it for a while because I've seen people on Twitter post like clips of the show, and I would see that like, oh, like these guys are like making music, and like the music that they're making, it feels like it wasn't made for a show, it was just like made for real life. And I kind of like that because like you had like different types of artists on the show. So I started watching it with my sister, but I ended up finishing like season 1 and season 2, and she's on season 2 right now. But season 2 was really good. Like the first episode of season 1 was good. It catches your attention because like they make like a good song like right away. Once it gets to season 2, it's like it's a lot of more juicy stuff happening in season 2, which is kind of like, usually when you have like a good first season, anything after that is like, can you make it better than the first? And I feel like the second season was better than the first to me. I don't think they're gonna have more seasons than that. I think like the second season was like the last, and it was just like meant to be just 2. But I really liked it. I think that was the last anime show that I've watched, but I am looking forward to watching the next one I do want to watch is The Great Pretender. I haven't watched it yet, but I'm gonna watch it soon. Maybe gonna start tonight or tomorrow. But yeah, this is my list, my timeline of animes that I've watched. And so the anime that introduced me to this whole thing was Inuyasha, and the last one I've seen was the Carole and Tuesday show. So thank you for watching.
So this is the end of my video. Like or subscribe if you want me to post more things. Also comment below about what you thought, and thanks for watching.